Right, welcome to the test night of the Snugpak Bunker. Now, as I explained in my other video, it's not mine. I didn't buy it. A friend of mine bought it. He's not planning to use it immediately, so he just sent it for my opinion, so to speak. First impressions, build quality is good. According to their website, 5,000 hydrostatic head. So the waterproofing should be good, as long as the stitching is all right, of course. It does seem to be seams taped and so on. So weather-wise, build quality-wise, it looks good. But there again, it should be. It's a lot of money. I do have my reservations about the overall design, though. Probably go into that in the morning after I've actually spent the night in it. But I can see a few things that will be an issue for me personally if I was to use this on a regular basis. But while we've still got some light, we are losing the light. It's late afternoon. Let's have a quick look around the inside. There's not a lot of point filming inside because it's dark in there. Right, around the outside, as you can see, it comes with, multiple guy lines. You can force the thing down tight into the floor with all its pegs and everything else. For really bad weather, mountainside stuff. In a woodland, of course, I don't need that. I've literally just put a peg in on each corner where the pole hits the ground, which is fine. While with this side, the air vent, one's meant to pop open. They never do. I've had to stick a little stick in there to keep him open. I have seen on other manufacturers, they actually put like a little stiffening rod in there, which you fold down, it's Velcro on the end, and you stick in. Why didn't they do that? It's not a cheap tent. I find this all a bit silly. The one the other side has actually got a guy line from here, so you can peg the vent out, so to speak, which, okay, it's a bit of a complicated solution to the problem, but if they've done that side, why didn't they do this side? It's a mystery. Well, here's that rear vent, a little bit larger than the front one, and as I said, it's got a guy line attached, so you can fix it out, hold it open. I haven't bothered unwrapping them. I don't need guy lines in here, so I've popped the stick in as I did the other side. As I say, these sort of stiffening pieces here, it's meant to make them sort of pop out, and I've never seen a tent of any manufacturer where that sort of actually works efficiently yet. It's just one of those things, I suppose. But yeah, if you've done this on this one, why haven't you done it on the other end? Very strange. And the only other observation I will make at the moment is these doors. There's one either side. 2 doors, great. It's meant to be 3-man. I don't believe it is, but we'll talk about that in the morning. But it's tiny. It is literally a get on your hands and knees and crawl or dive in or whatever. I suppose keeping it small, less area to leak, more robust maybe. But here's the thing. Let me move the camera. So you've got your little door there, little door in the triangle the other side, and this big flat panel, which is going to be either the head or the foot end. We've got people in there. Now this is not doing anything apart from being the air vent. Stick the air vents in the side. Big zip here. Have this panel you can open right up. You could even have it up in the warmer weather for ventilation. Put it on 2 poles if you wanted. You'd have a great access in and out. But instead, you've just got a big flat wall. Again, I suppose it comes down to strength, possibly the waterproofing and so on. But for practicality's sense, I think a bigger door in this big wasted space would have been a bit more practical than 2 cat flaps. The way they've got the 3-pole system here, crossing over at the top, gives it great strength. It's very stable. Once you've put it up and not pegged it, you can just pick it up and carry it and, position it where you like, which is very good, very handy if you want to try and find a flat spot. That would also give it some strength if you were in such a situation that you was worried about, you know, snow loading and so on. It's all going to help take some extra weight, because that triangle in the top there, it's not flat, but it hasn't got much of a steep angle on it. So certainly for snow, you're not going to get a lot of runoff. It's going to settle on top, but them 3 poles will certainly give it some strength. From a distance, colours work all right too. Obviously you can see the little white blobs from where the guy lines are still in their plastic bags, but no, the actual tent colours are quite good. Zoom him in a bit. No, it's not camouflage, but it would work fine in most conditions. Right, we've got some light rain, and it's beading up nicely on the surfaces, so the fabric's absolutely fine. What I will say is this door, where it's on the curve there, on the angle, I've just had to go in there to get my dinner out, and when you unzip it completely, the highest point here is above the inner of the tent, so any water on here runs inside. Where if you had a vestibule type turnout, you know, it was pegged out wide, the water would run off rather than run in your tent. I don't like these little doors, simple as that. Now, as we have no vestibule or porch, I've had to zip the outside door shut and just wedge my boots in between the outer fly and the inner section. When I zip that up, it'll be sort of, they'll be in the sandwich, because quite simply I don't want my muddy boots in here. Right, well, I'm all zipped up, ready for my night in the Snugpak Bunker. I suppose one of the things I should definitely mention is it's sold as 3-man. And I've looked at the diagram and the orientation the people should be in here. If I lay the direction that they recommend, my sleep mat touches both ends, and if I lay down, my feet touch the fly, the inner one end, my head's touching it the other end. So I've had to go sort of diagonal across the corner to get enough length. If it's 3-man, they've all got to be 5 foot tall or less. That's all I'm saying. And the other thing with not having a porch or vestibule, where are these 3 men going to put their bags? I would say you could sleep 2 in here with your bags in the centre maybe. But I've got my Bergen to my left. I'm laying in the centre. And I've just got my jacket and whatever and the tripod standing to the right. It's not a massive amount of room. And the other thing, it became apparent as soon as I was set up and putting my stuff in. I've got my poncho liner in the bottom as carpet, as I normally do, and I can't get it flat in here. There's not enough length. There's just about the width, not enough length. Where in the little French F2 military tent, it actually fits like wall to wall like carpet. So in some sense, it's actually smaller than the French 2-man military tent. For 1 person and gear, yeah. 3 people, nah. I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. Well, I slept all right. It is just coming up for 7:30. No condensation or nothing. Not that I expected it. I did notice last night, I think it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, I had to get up for a wee, which was most inconvenient. And it wasn't until I unzipped the doors and the cold air hit my face that I realised quite how much heat this traps in. So, yeah, good heat retention. It was a bit wet and a bit windy last night, but the tent was quiet. There was no flapping of fabric or anything like that. It is a good solid structure. Right, get up, get some coffee on, and then I'll give you some final thoughts. Right, my final thoughts after spending a night in the bunker. Good and bad from my point of view. Construction of it, materials used, all this sort of thing is good. It's well made. We had a little bit of wind last night. The way it's constructed, all the fabric's very tight. There was no flapping, there was no noise from the tent or anything like that. It retained quite a bit of heat. That was very noticeable when I opened the doors and the cold air hit my face. All that side of it is good. What I will say is it's sold as a 3-man. Well, unless them 3 men are 5 foot tall. No. I can't sleep the correct orientation within it because I've got my head and my feet against the fabric either end. I've had to go diagonal to the widest point and then just put my bag one side and my jacket and so on the opposite side of me. So for one person, fine. For 2 people, as long as their bags weren't too big, because of course you're going to want your bags and that on the inside, especially if the weather's rubbish. For 2 people with not too much baggage, it would be okay. For 1, fine. For 3, no. Not what I'm seeing. I don't particularly like the doors. Don't like the design. I think that could have been done differently. And overall, it's quite a bit of money for what you get. I'm sure it will last forever, sort of thing, and it will put up with most sort of weather, as long as it's only 1 man using it, possibly 2 on occasions. But overall, interesting experience. I'm glad it was sent to me to try out. Thank you very much. It wouldn't be one for me personally. I just find the whole dome shape a little bit restricted. You've got the height right in the middle, but then as soon as you get to the edges, you know, your room is restricted. I prefer a more conventional shaped tent. But yeah, I slept well. That's all I needed really, wasn't it? Oh, I forgot to mention, I think the biggest drawback for me personally is the fact that you've got no porch, no vestibule. So it's the lack of having a space to stick muddy boots, do some cooking if necessary, or just make a brew. If it's wet, you haven't got that outside yet sheltered space. I think that really is a must on just about any tent, to be honest. But hey, each to his own.